Right, and welcome back to the second half of reviewing my favourite images month by month from 2003. And in this second half we'll look from July through to December. So here we go. Right, we'll come to this waterfall on Langstrath Beck. And yeah, we've taken one or two images. There you can see there's the camera, so I've just come round here. We'll see that's more or less the composition, but what I did notice is if we look back, up there's the waterfalls we're on the way to Stake Pass. You can't really see it, but somewhere across there's a bridge that we came across. And then we came down to the bridge over this Langstrath Beck, and there's an actual waterfall under the bridge. I didn't stop to do anything about it, but we'll have a look as we go back. You see, it's in a very narrow canyon, so whether we can actually get down to get an image, I don't know. But this one here is very impressive, and as I say, we've got some nice images both at the standard exposure and then with long exposures with the I'm trying to think, I think we only just put it's a 3-stop ND filter on, so any good. We'll put it on the video and we'll head back to the bridge, see if we can get anything there, and then we'll head back to Black Moss Pot that we didn't really stop at on the way here because there was quite a lot of people jumping in and whatever. I'm hoping as we go back it might be a bit quieter. So right, anyway, we'll see you a bit later. Right, and here we are in July, and to make things slightly easier for people, I've changed the software for recording the screen, as I can now record in the same bit rate and frame rate that I want to output to YouTube. But I've also altered the pointer, and that's within the Mac OS. So I've made it slightly bigger and I've made it green, so hopefully it's easier for you to follow, to see where I'm pointing. So here we have the image for July. Let's make it full screen. And yeah, this was taken in the Langstrath Valley, and I did take numerous images at various shutter speeds. As we can see there from the comments, I've got a 3-stop ND filter on and a polarizer. Now the whole point of this is the polarizer stops the glare, particularly on these wet rocks, which is very good, and obviously the ND filter slows the shutter speed. And on this one, which I felt was the best, and I do like the milky look, particularly in the plunge pool here, and we've gone for 0.8 of a second. So yeah, it was a good day that, and there is a video of the full outing. And what I hadn't done, although I may go and alter the description of the previous video looking at January to June, certainly on this one I will put links to the full videos in the description below. So if anybody's interested, they can go and look at the full video taken. So right, yep, so we'll go back to there. So that is July's image taken in Langstrath Valley, and I do like a good waterfall. And as I say, that is July, and we'll now move on to August. Right, well hopefully you can hear me above the roar of the water. And we've come down, this is just off the path and relatively easy to get to. And it is starting to get dark now. We're probably half an hour away from sunset. But this is just epic, this one. Now set it up with just a landscape orientation. It was F11, 100 ISO, and that gave us half a second. And yeah, I'm just really impressed by looking on the back of the camera. Now whether I'll leave it like that or whether I'll make it monochrome, or whether I'll alter the from 3x2 to whatever, I don't know. I'm really impressed with that. So we'll put that up after this on the video, and then we'll be heading back to the road. We're probably only going to stop if we see something really nice now. And then we'll get to the hotel, maybe have some refreshment, and then we'll head to the van and head home. So anyway, we'll see you a bit later. Right, and here we are now with August's image. Another brilliant waterfall. I did talk, as you heard in the video, about whether to alter the aspect ratio of this, which was taken in 2:3, or you could call it 4:6, and there was excess unnecessary stuff either side, so I have taken it down to a 4:5, so it just squashes it in a little bit. But if we go into the develop mode, I did talk about whether to make it, whether I would have made it monochrome. We'll see there, that's the actual image, but if I just hover over here, it puts the monochrome that I would have used, and I just didn't like it. I felt it was better as taken with the colour. So if we go back to the full screen there, and as we saw, it was at half a second, it was f10 and 100 ISO, and this is one of my, as I say, I do like a good waterfall, and this is one of my better images of waterfalls. I really do like this one. So yeah, we'll go back to there, and that's August, and we'll then move on to September. Right, we're now working our way down the ridge, and we've come to a vantage point of the reservoir, and I thought this would make quite a good composition. So I have captured 2 or 3 images here, and I may capture 2 or 3 more with the clouds and the shadows moving about. The only problems with the shadow is my shadows in the frame, so I'm trying to move out the way, do the 1-2 second timer, mind out the way, and the picture takes, etc. But what I'm going to do is, as we work down the ridge, I'm going to keep stopping, maybe do a few handheld images of the reservoir as we get further and further down, because I don't know which is going to be the best composition. But what I don't want to do is get further down and wished I'd taken one while I was up here and either have to come back or miss it. So as I work down, I'll take various images, and what I'll do on the video after this conversation, we'll put the best image or images up, and we'll see you when I get back to the reservoir. Right, so now here we are in September, and here we have the image here. I did say on the video that you've just watched that I was going to capture images as I moved down the ridge, and this is actually further down the ridge from where I did the bit to camera where I was talking about that. And this is Haweswater, which is actually a reservoir. I think, like a lot of the reservoirs in the Lake District, there was probably some sort of body of water here, but there's been a dam and it's been enlarged and flooded to make a reservoir. And most of the ones in the Lake District were built by the Manchester Corporation to supply the city of Manchester with water. So, and the reason I like this is we've sort of got a leading line coming to here, and then whoops, and then we've got the water curling around here. We can see from the settings it was a 40th of a second, f11, 100 ISO, and a 20th of a second. And I wouldn't have thought there were any, no filters, as they say, no filters were used in this image. So, and just with the light, we've got the slightly dark on the wall running here where it's in the shadow, and then we've got the brightness of the green there, slightly subdued there, and the darkness there. I just think it's a really nice image, and obviously I've said it's my favourite image of September. So having looked at September, we'll now move on to October. Right, well, we're on our way up to Glaramar on the path, and I just saw this tree, and I just thought I'll come off the path and we'll capture that tree. It's a bit of a lone tree, although it's not that lonely. There's a bit of a twig just up there, so, but I thought it was quite good. And if I zoom in, how do I zoom in? Let's just zoom in. Don't know whether you can see in the background there, there's the waterfall, and I can't remember what the name of that one is off the top of my head. I'll put it up on the video. So yeah, I thought the tree there with the waterfall behind up in the clouds would make quite a good image. So I've captured it just handheld. The ground's very uneven, and it would have been awkward to try and get the tripod up. But it should be quite still, because I've actually found a rock to sit on that gets me low enough, as you can see there, so that the tree is in the sky and not bisecting any of the mountain, between the mountains and the skies, and you can still see there the waterfall coming down. So hopefully it'll make a good image. I've captured a few different images of it. Whichever's the best we'll put on the video after this, and then we'll carry on up to the top of Glaramara. So we'll see you a little bit later. So here we are now in October, and here's October's image. We'll just make it full screen. And as I was explaining in the video, I needed to get quite low. It was very uneven ground and nowhere I could really get the tripod up, etc. But I did find a bit of a rock that I could sit down and then get low. So there's a separation between the mountain and the tree. Apart from maybe there's a little bit there, and you could argue that's over the mountain, but with the cloud on that bit of the mountain, it still stands out. And it is amazing. I don't know whether anybody else has ever captured the image of this tree, but the other nice thing I liked was the waterfall in the background there. And if I just look at the keyword, not the keyword, list the keyword in, it's Taylor Gill Force. That this is not far from Seatoller, and I was going up Glaramara, which is going up that way. If I'd followed the path along, that would have taken me to Stockley Bridge, and then could have headed either up that way to Styhead Town, or this way in the valley up to Sprinkling Town. So it's a bit off the beaten track, but I do like, as I've maybe mentioned before in other videos, I do like a lone tree, and this is such a lone tree. And I just feel in general you've got to get separation between other things in the background and the lone tree, so it stands out because it's got the sky behind it, and they've succeeded that here. And as we can see, with it being handheld, I have upped the ISO slightly to 400, which allowed me to have 100th of a second shutter speed at 41mm to stop any blur that may have happened. So yep, that's the image from October. We'll go back to there, and then we'll move on to November. Right, and here we are with another church on another hilltop. So we've come from the last one, and I don't know whether, let me zoom in, whether we can see it. It's on the top there. I mean, the problem I've got, the screen on the video camera is very small, so I'm not quite sure whether we'll be able to see it, but the church is quite a way off, and as you'll see on the camera there, I've got the 100/400 on, and at the moment I've got it virtually at 400 to capture the image. So we're just going to see what happens. There's a bit of light. We're not too much before sunset at the moment, so just going to see if there's any colour comes in the sky. It's a nice view. So yeah, I don't know whether it is in other countries, but in Slovenia there's a lot of these churches on the top of hilltops. So I've come up slightly from the road. You can see the road down there, and I've come just to get a bit more height. The other two are actually on the road, or just off the road. I was just trying to see if getting a bit more height might make some difference. I'm not quite sure whether it does or not. But anyway, if it's any good, we'll put it up on the video, and this could be the last images I take before we set off back to the UK. I think we're aiming to leave the house at 4 a.m. tomorrow to get back to Venice for our flight. So these will certainly be the last few images taken. So yeah, we'll possibly see you a little bit later. So now here we are in November, and in November I went on a photographic workshop to Slovenia, and this is the last location that we went to, on the opposite valley to this church. It's the Church of St. Leonard. We can see there the name of the place where it is. But yeah, I wouldn't be able to pronounce that anyway. So you saw the video. I took various compositions, and I'm not quite sure whether this was from there or further round on the road where my two colleagues had been taking images from. And this was just to try and get the church in its surroundings. So we've got the church there, and then we can see there we've got the green of the valley going round, the mountains behind. We're starting to get a little bit of colour in the sky, but you can see the late evening sun lighting up some of these trees down here. And obviously it's very autumnal. We've got some evergreens that are still green, some that have got trees that have gone to brown, and the leaves are starting to fall, and then we've got some that are yellow. So yeah, it's just my favourite image from the trip to Slovenia and from November. So yeah, it's a glorious image, and I've cropped it to 16:9, which is one of my favourite crops, and obviously that lines up with the ratio of the computer screen. As you can see, it's a 20th of a second at f11 100 ISO, and it's the 100 to 400, but it was backed out to 100mm. So yeah, so that was November, and we'll end there, and then we will go to December, and finally we end in December. And in November, at the back end of November into December, I went on another workshop with the same people that had been to Slovenia, and we went to Skye. And on the way back, on the day back, we were coming back through various, and we stopped in Glencoe, and this is actually in Glenative, which is just off Glencoe. And as we're on the way home, I didn't actually do any videoing, but this image here I find truly stunning. I have got various images from this or a very similar spot, but although there was no snow, it was obviously very cold, and there'd been frost, so there was ice round here on the waterfall, maybe a frost on the rocks here, but on these trees, the hoarfrost, it's just amazing. If we just zoom in, you can see it's just absolutely amazing. And then we've got the buckle, or Buchel Ihivmo, I think is the correct pronunciation, in the sunlight behind with wisps of cloud around. And I just find this a truly amazing image, a truly amazing composition, or maybe that's putting up my photography a bit much. an amazing scene. Hopefully I've captured relatively well, and I've turned it into a square crop. There was just a bit too much off the two sides, and to make it into a portrait I think would have lost too much, so I made it to a square crop. And if we go into here, we'll see how I actually cropped it. Yeah, I've taken more off the right hand side than the left hand side, which gets this, the waterfall and the buckle in the centre, and the trees to both sides. So if we go back into the view, it's just in a place I've been many times, and it was just phenomenal that day with the frost and that. So that is December, and actually for various reasons, after coming back from Skye, I haven't actually been out with the camera at all. So that is December. Right, so that is my 12 favourite images from 2023, month by month, from January down here to December up here. And that's where we're going to wind this video up. I'm hoping to get out in the next few days to actually get a video out in the field of actually taking the images. So, but I'd just like to remind people, if you've enjoyed this video, please click the thumbs up. If you like what I'm doing, why not subscribe? And whatever, please, if there's any questions or anything, just please comment. If you've liked something, if you haven't liked something, please comment, and I do answer all comments, even if it's just a thank you for commenting when it isn't particularly a question. Obviously if it's a question, I'll answer that. So, and for all those that have watched to this point, thank you very, very much.